Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to what none of us thought would be possible, a second episode of our movie review podcast, Give Peace a Chance. Here we are. Welcome back, my good friends, Bradley Joseph Harmon, who is...
I'm BJ, local bike guy, action movie enthusiast, I like to swear.
Answers to Peter.
I answer to Peter. I do.
I'm also, the man on the board is my good friend
Ted.
We
Ted
also call
Hansen.
him as Pete's brother.
Professional fucker.
And bus driver.
And bus driver extraordinaire.
And of course today...
All of my passengers love me.
Well, all three of them that you don't kick off because they're, they follow the small guidelines that you provide.
I just snorted. I'll cut that out.
That's fine.
Nah,
Snort.
do it.
Dude, snort all day. You know what I'm saying? And I, of course, today will be running the show. My name is Jim Stevens of the Reverend Smooth, also known as Get Off the Fucking Couch.
The Reverend.
Hardly ever do.
The Reverend Smooth.
I like that. I have a Reverend's license.
Oh, nice.
That's for probably another
Reverend
podcast, but
Smooth.
I had a improv show, and I wanted to serve alcohol at the shows, and they said we couldn't because we were too close to a church. So I said, so if I started my own church, could we serve alcohol? So I got all the way to get my Reverend's license, and they still said no.
Also, becoming a reverend in the early 2000s was mighty popular.
I got my Reverend's license on the back of the Rolling Stones.
And you could marry me and BJ.
I could right now.
On a very special episode.
Like on a mountaintop.
A very special episode of Blossom. Absolutely. So, just so you guys know, if you missed the first show, let me go back through what our show is about. There's a lot of movie podcasts out there, and so what we decided to do is put together a show of maybe movies you might have missed, new movies, old movies. Maybe they're not even movies. Maybe you just had a fantasy and you're like, I swear that was a movie. We'll review it, and it's fine. We also do review a newer movie that we think you have missed, and now we've added this week, since it's week 2, we're going to do at the very end of the show a write-in from one of our audience members. Because we all thought we'd get like 6 to 7 followers. Dude, we got like 60
listeners. I think we have 4 subscribers.
And that's gonna grow exponentially.
PJ, why you gotta ruin it, man?
Well, I just, gotta keep it real.
Yeah, buddy, but dude, 60 people. That's more people than like seeing all the movies I've made combined.
Oh, man.
Anyways, so for those of you that don't know, you can write into us at our webpage, or not our webpage, our email address, which is...
It is givepieceachanz @gmail.com. Peace is spelled Piece. Give peace a chance, CHANZ.
Right, and make sure you type with your pinky up.
Pinky up.
While you're doing that. Excellent. Obviously we review movies that you might have missed, and we challenge one another for the movies that you might have missed. And so last week, if you listened, if you didn't hear, you can go back and listen. But we all challenged each other for new films for this week that we've all watched. You watched my movie that I hopefully
Moon.
Yes.
Yeah, I watched your crappy movie, so did you watch my crappy movie?
I liked your movie, and I didn't think it was crap.
All right, well, good, because last week you didn't like my movie so much. Even though 2 weeks in a row I've had the highest IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes score, but that's fine. My film this week was Moon. It is a 2009 science fiction film directed by Duncan Jones. Do we know who Duncan Jones is?
I'll pretend like I don't.
Bowie.
Oh, wait.
He is the son of David Bowie, and this was his directorial debut. Interesting fact, he wanted to work with Sam Rockwell so much that he kept trying to find different films to work with him on, and he wrote this film for Sam Rockwell because he was like, I have to work with you. Anyways, so written by Nathan Parker from a story by Jones, blah, blah, blah. The film follows Sam Rockwell, who goes by Sam Bell in this film, a man who experiences a personal crisis as he nears the end of a 3-year solitary stint mining some weird thing off of Moon because they can't get anything off of Earth anymore because this is a far stretch, but apparently on Earth they've decided to take this stuff off. The oil?
Helium-2.
Oil. No, it's not. Helium-3, actually.
Helium-3?
Helium-3. So, since we have no oil left, they find that they can grow this thing called Helium-3 on the moon, and they make big, big bucks. And so, he's basically stuck on the moon by himself with a robot named Birdy, who was voiced by a small-time actor. Nobody's really heard of him. He's not been in the news.
I don't even think we should say his name, though.
His name is Kevin Spacey. Interesting fact about Kevin Spacey on this film is he only agreed to do this movie after it got made. He watched it, and if he liked it, he would do the voice of Birdy. He loved it so much he filmed all of his voice part in half a day.
Oh, nice.
So, boys, last week you didn't like my movie so much, so how did we feel about Moon?
I loved it.
I really liked it.
Yeah.
I liked your movie, man.
All right.
Let's
go back. Let's start over. Be honest now.
No. I enjoyed it. I actually really enjoyed it. I gave it an A+ out of stars.
Yeah.
It's,
A+ out of stars.
I like that.
I like that. I'm going to keep that for myself.
Oh, yeah. It's all yours.
It's yours.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie, man. I am a sucker for some well-used practical effects, and this movie had plenty of them.
Yeah.
Models and just like the surface of the moon and the things they did with the moon car going across and
the budget was under
$5 million.
$5 million.
Yeah.
$5 million.
At what point did you figure out what was going on?
I figured it out 22 minutes and 30 seconds in. Mm-hmm. I wrote it down. I figured out they were clones. I figured out that he was dying. He was at the end of his stint. I didn't quite figure out who the young girl in yellow dress was until the end.
Yeah.
Obviously his older daughter.
Uh-huh.
Daughter at an older age. Yeah.
Because he's obviously been doing this for years and years and years.
Yeah, I'm a little bit slower on the uptake, but halfway through, I figured it out.
You mean because there was two of them hanging out with each other
at
that point?
Well, after the ping pong match, and listeners, you'll have to just watch the film
and if you haven't seen
understand.
It,
yeah. I was a little bit confused about the memory of Sam A and the memory of Sam B, and then by the end of the movie, it all came together for me, which was nice.
So did it take you longer to figure out the plot of the movie, or to how did it play on the DVD player?
I didn't know how to set the clock.
If anybody wants to watch this one, it's on Netflix right now.
It is on Netflix right now,
which I was pretty surprised about.
It's one of the ones and it's also one of those that if after you watch it, this is one that if you want to go on the iTunes or you can find it in a $5 bin. This is one of the movies that you want to put in your collection. This is a fantastic movie. It has an IMDb score of 7.9. Rotten Tomatoes score with the critics at 90% and an audience award of 89%. So pretty much across the board, it's really good. Also, we mentioned David Bowie's son. This is the director's first movie that he ever did, and it stars an up-and-coming actor that I think it's going to happen for him. Kevin Spacey. I think good things. Nothing could get in that dude's way.
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell. Yeah, that guy's great.
At different times, he looks like Dana Carvey.
He does have a Dana Carvey thing.
And then Luke Wilson, and then Gary Oldman.
He sounds like Luke Wilson, too.
Yeah.
So my father, God rest his soul, we had a big bonding thing when we got into Harry Potter together. We're watching a Gary Oldman film, and I'm like, hey, that's Sirius Black from Harry Potter. No, that's not. Son, that's not. I'm like, no, that's the same. No, son, that's not the same. That guy is obviously not this guy. And I'm like, no, same guy. Like he does this in all of his movies. He completely changes who he is. So
another thing about this, it only took him 33 days to film it.
Yeah, and a lot of practical effects.
That amazes me.
Yeah. And that was a 360-degree set. Also, and they used it all.
So here's
one thing I really liked is Birdy became a very sympathetic character.
He's there to help Sam.
Yeah.
Did you also notice they looked a lot like 2001 Space Odyssey?
Yeah.
Just a different color, basically.
Yeah.
So while this movie was made, small little fun fact, and then I'll finish with the final word and we'll move on to the next one. But the writer's strike was happening at this time.
Oh.
And so because it's David Bowie's son, he was able to bring in, because they're not working on anything else because of the strikes.
Yeah.
He said, we only had $5 million, but I could call anyone and they would come and help us because they weren't working on anything else. And so I think that was an opportunity, but at the same time, a really good film, good writing, but he was able to get away with. And sometimes you need a little luck. So,
one last thing. The evil corporation,
Lunar Industries.
Yeah,
the power of the moon, the power of the future.
I'm more optimistic about the future, but for the purposes of drama, I will allow evil corporations like I do in Alien and Terminator, Hyperdyne, and Skynet.
We must learn. But we must learn from science fiction.
Oh yeah,
like, the world could take a lot of lessons from
art.
Like this.
Art teaches us how to cope with what's coming down the pike.
I don't
in
look
20
at art,
years.
so I don't know.
Do we not see corporations? Oh, that's not good. That's not.
We'll do this. That's nothing. That's for another discussion.
Moving on.
Well, final word.
Yes.
Just because I get final word from last week. We'll do
Jim.
I'm Jim. I get final word. They showed this movie to NASA, and NASA asked, "Why did you decide to put the farm on the dark side of the moon?" When they basically made up the hypothesis that this helium-3 would grow better on the other side of the moon, and so of course the director's like, "Well, we didn't want to harm the natural wildlife." I was like, that's what he told NASA. So, anyways, let's move on to movie 2. Movie 2 was Ted's choice of Birdy. This is
Birdy.
1984 American... Birdy! 1984 American drama, film based on William Wharton's 1978 novel of the same name, directed by Alan Parker. It was also his directorial debut, which is odd.
No.
Yes, it was his
No,
first.
it was not.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Probably wasn't.
He did Pink Floyd The Wall.
Yeah,
He did Bugsy Malone. Have you seen that?
Doesn't ring a bell.
Okay, BJ, lover of musicals. Have you seen Bugsy Malone?
Yes, I have seen Bugsy.
No, wait.
Fucking
I think he directed a Madonna film though.
Evita.
Yeah, no, I have seen that.
Yes.
I've seen that 9 times. Anyways, this is a film that focuses on a friendship between Birdy, which is Matthew Modine, and Al Columbato, which is Nicolas Cage when he was still ripped and not fat and stupid. I shouldn't say that out loud. That was rude. I'm sorry. 2 teenage boys living in the working class neighborhood in Philadelphia, 1960s. Stories presented in flashbacks. Basically, they go to the Vietnam War and they both have severe issues after coming back from the Vietnam War. And so this film takes place. You get to see times during the war, for the war, and after the war. So, BJ, what'd you think?
I liked it enough. We'll watch it again for sure. There's too much one-sided dialogue.
Well, because one of them didn't talk for half the film.
Yeah, there was that. But I liked it a lot. With Nicolas Cage coming back with the injury and him having to deal with adjusting to that, like
bomb blows up in his face.
He's got like a new ear, or maybe he's got a metal jaw.
But he never takes off the stuff, so you don't know.
He's bandages the whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you know who did the music on that one?
Yes.
No, I didn't look into that.
Peter Gabriel.
Yeah.
I love Peter Gabriel.
Peter Gabriel did the score. Okay, so this is one of those films where I had a really hard time because first of all, I cannot take Nicolas Cage serious, and that's why I liked him in
Raising
Arizona. So
yeah.
when he plays that character that way, I'm all in. Yeah. That's great. But when he's
Hyde,
he's great. But
what about Ghost Rider, Jim?
No, not good. And in this film, because he does most of the dialogue. Okay, so how did this film get made?
How did this get made?
How did it get made? Because if you told me a story of 2 guys who kind of wrestle at the beginning over a knife and become immediate best friends.
Just best friends.
just immediate best friends. And then to the point where they're not leaving each other forever. You tell me someone goes, yeah, I've got fighting on. Yeah. But as a filmmaker who tries to get his stuff made, and I'm like, I feel like this is a good idea. They're all like, yeah, no, that's not. I'm like, Birdy got made, motherfucker. Birdy.
So Nicolas Cage is trying to help Birdy out of this bad catatonic state in a mental hospital, and he talks to him for the last 30 minutes of the movie. Is pretty much Nicolas Cage talking to Birdy and asking him,
"What's in the box? What's in the box?"
Oh man!
But
the end is cool.
Yeah, and I mean, Birdy is saving him.
Is he?
I think they're saving each other.
So, okay, I'll ask some questions.
I'd say 60-40, Birdy's saving him.
What is Birdy's real name?
Birdy?
Why is he being all weird?
Isn't it Birdy?
No, they never actually say Birdie's real name.
Really?
They never, and they don't in the book either. They never say Birdie's, so nobody knows Birdie's real name. Another little fun, small fact, because that's the kind of stuff I like to do. Danny Glover, this was his first role in a movie, was Birdie. Danny Glover. However, the reason why you don't see Danny Glover in the movie is because he couldn't get his lines down in so they had to cut him out. He's not in the movie, but he was cast in this movie. Couldn't get his lines, so they cut it out. Nicolas Cage removed 2 teeth with no aesthetics. Or that's not aesthetics, anesthesia.
It's a tough word.
Yeah, aesthetics.
Wait a minute,
yeah.
what?
Yeah, he ripped out 2 teeth for this role.
You could say he was not aesthetically pleasing.
There you go, see?
Like,
there you go, Beach.
Jim Carrey removed a cap for Dumb and Dumber, right?
Well, he nicked it. Yeah, he had a nick.
Yeah, and he had a cap that he took off, right? Nicolas Cage actually
ripped out 2 teeth without any real good drugs.
He was young. So ripped he was in the movie.
Yeah, he was ripped doing pull-ups.
He'd been doing like push-ups. Of
course,
he
did. So finally, before we give you the last word,
did you know Nicolas Cage changed his name from Coppola?
Yeah, he's a Coppola.
Before he got hired on, Alan Parker had no idea.
Do you know who his mom is?
Yes.
Who was his mom?
Somebody?
No. Did you see Godfather?
Talia Shire? No.
I haven't seen The Godfather.
You haven't seen The Godfathers?
Yeah, I've seen it.
So he's got, there's a long line of Coppolas that also Jason Schwartzman is a Coppola. You also have Sophie Coppola.
Yeah.
Who's obviously a Coppola. But no, his mom, she wasn't Godfather. No, she had a small part in Godfather, but the one you know her from is Rocky's wife.
Talia Shire.
I'm pretty sure that's not her name.
Rocky's wife is Talia Shire from The Godfather. Yeah.
Is that really her stupid name?
Talia Shire.
I'm looking at that.
Okay. So I will finish up while you are looking up Rocky's wife's name, and it is Talia Shire.
IMDb score 7.3, critic score on Rotten Tomatoes of 85%, audience score of 84%. So go ahead and talk, and I'll let you know what her name was.
Oh, by the way, I have pigeon suits at my house.
No, wait. That's impossible because Nicolas Cage is a nephew, not a direct son of Francis.
Not his son. He's the nephew because his sister is Rocky's wife. So let me.
There we go. So not his mother.
Yeah, no, that's Nicolas Cage's mom. Is the wife of Rocky. That's Nicolas Cage's mom, who is the sister of Francis Coppola.
This stays in because you are wrong. You are wrong. Okay. Talia Shire is not Nicolas Cage's mom. Okay, so here is my question. Why is Bruno Kirby relegated to such a tiny role in this movie? And talking about The Godfather, he was the young Clemenza in Godfather 2.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure who that was in this movie because I honestly didn't look into it that much because I kind of slept through half of it.
So you were right on Talia Shire, but you were incorrect that she is not a Coppola. That is Francis Ford Coppola's sister.
When did I say she was a Coppola?
I don't even know what you guys were talking about.
Yeah, I said that's her mom. That's Nick Cage's mom.
Nick Cage's mom.
Who is the wife in Rocky.
Okay.
Who's Francis Ford Coppola's sister.
Okay.
So where was I wrong?
Neither of us were wrong. We both get points.
Is this one of those agree to disagree situations?
Her name, she goes by Talia Shire, but her actual legal name is Tyla Rose Coppola.
I win because I knew her name. You win because you knew she was
a Coppola. We can
Nicholas is agree on that. Okay. For those in the audience, we're shaking and we're not letting go. We'll never let go, Birdie. Okay, so Bruno Kirby. What does he have? Like 5 lines in the movie?
Who does he play?
Yeah, I don't even know who he's talking about.
Who's Bruno Kirby?
Yeah, my God!
That's Bruno Kirby.
Is Bruno Kirby Matthew Modine?
May you two be damned to
Is
hell.
that one of the dads?
Is it?
He's the orderly, and
Oh yeah, that dude. He's in a lot of
that
stuff.
dude.
Yeah, he's in a lot of things. He's got that squeaky little voice like this. He's kind of like a Joe Pesci type guy, but not Joe Pesci.
Orderly in what?
He's the orderly. He's like, what do you do here? Oh, I wipe ass. I give people pills. I tighten their straitjackets, stuff like that. He's got black hair.
I remember Danny Glover more in this film than that guy.
Oh my, that guy?
He's not that big.
He was in The Godfather Part 2. He was.
I've never seen it.
The same year this movie came out, he was in This Is Spinal Tap. He's the limo driver who was. Oh my God, I'm gonna educate you guys. You've never seen Spinal Tap?
Of course I have seen
Okay.
I've auditioned in front of Rob Reiner before. Bring it.
Nice!
I didn't get that.
Okay, wait.
Let's get the last word on Birdy.
I'm so surprised that Bruno Kirby had a tiny role in this film when he was rocking it the same year, Spinal Tap, and then he went on to do When Harry Met Sally.
And once again, I'm wrong. So Talia Shire is actually Jason Schwartzman's mom. Moving along, we got another film to do. So we both did our films, and then BJ picked another one.
Yeah. I went with
Dreamscape. Yeah, Dreamscape. It doesn't star Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk. No, Tony Hawk's not in this one.
Dreamscape is a 1984 science fiction adventure horror film. Okay, cool. It was directed by Joseph Rubin. Was his directorial figure. And written by Chuck Russell and Rubin co-writing. Stars Dennis Quaid, Kate Capshaw, Max Van Sydow? And,
Max von Sydow.
And some guy I've never heard of, Christopher Plummer.
The hills are alive with the sound.
Ironically, replaced Kevin Spacey.
Yes.
Nominated for an Academy Award.
I haven't seen that yet. I want to see it.
Alex Gardner, played by Dennis Quaid, is a psychic who has been using his talents solely for personal gain, which lately consists mainly of gambling and womanizing. When he was 19 years old, Alex was the prime subject of a scientific research project documenting his psychic ability, but he decided he was too powerful and ran away and disappeared. After running afoul of a local gangster extortionist named Schneed, I'm not kidding, that was his name was Schneed. Gardner evades two of Schneed's thugs by allowing himself to be taken by two men, basically going back to the ones that were doing tests on him in the first place. And in the end, Ted, what happens to our hero? Who does he save?
The President of the United States.
So in other words, this is
America.
This is the greatest story of all time.
I think it's one of them for sure. I think it's the greatest spy story of all time. I kind of think this is an espionage movie.
He saves the president who sleeps in a cheap motel room.
And who's going after the president?
Why is that the?
I don't know.
They spend a lot of money on this movie.
Yeah, they really did.
The president's room looks like fucking Motel 6.
Did you know this was the second ever PG-13 film under the MPAA ratings?
No, I did
not. Can either of you name the first film that was rated PG-13?
Yes.
What?
Poltergeist?
No, Red Dawn.
Yeah.
The writer who wrote this...
Avenge me!
The writer who wrote this, you know what else he wrote, Beach?
No.
Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3.
Part 3. Is that the one with Johnny Depp and the roof?
That's the first one.
Is that the Dream Warriors?
Oh, no, that is Dream Warriors.
It might be Dream Warriors. Yeah. It's got a lot of the same stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So what I liked most about this film, which, by the way, got an IMDb rating of 6.3, Rotten Tomatoes critics of a 77%, and an audience award of 46%. I like the half-button shirts. That was definitely good. The guy from Commando.
David Patrick Kelly.
The one where
Warriors come out to play.
Yeah, and he also, like, when Schwarzenegger was holding him, he goes, "You said you wouldn't, you'd kill me last." I lied. And then he drops
Real quick thing about him. Kevin Costner was going to play that role. Like, he was all set to play David Patrick Kelly's role, the weird changeling freaking murderer guy.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to play like the second fiddle. He wanted to be the main actor in the movie. So he didn't take it.
He went on to make the greatest movie of all time, Waterworld.
So. I'm a big fan from Twin Peaks. He plays.
Who are you talking about?
The Warrior.
Oh,
Patrick Kelly.
Yeah.
Okay, so
another
Twin guy, you couldn't tell me his name. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, he made his mark.
Okay, that's good. My little brother's doing a David Lynch film right now, so there's a small little, 3 degrees of separation. Also, my favorite scene in the entire movie is when he's going through the file book. He's going through the files, right? And there's file after file after file, and they're all like old and aged and they're yellow. And the one he's looking for has like a bright white tag on it.
It's like brand new, barely put in there.
It's like this one. And the Snake Man.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Snake Man?
Snake Man?
David Patrick Kelly.
Maybe they could have used someone in a costume instead of the claymation.
CGI,
Yeah. Love me some practical crap.
So what would be your stars out of percentage on this one?
This was my movie.
What did he go with on the? Well, how did he say that?
Moon was A+ out of stars.
A+.
This one I gave it meh out of stars.
Okay. I'm okay with that. Final word?
Yeah.
I have more to say.
Well, then, go ahead. You can cut that back out. I'll do the final word. What else you got?
Alright. This movie has 2 seasoned actors. Max von Sydow. I looked it up. Okay. Sydow.
There's things we're going to be wrong on.
And Christopher Plummer, who are still with us. They're in their 90s.
So you're not going to add Dennis Quaid to an accomplished actor?
No, I'm not. No.
He was the rookie.
He is adequate. This movie has actors across the spectrum. Max von Sydow, Christopher Plummer, dude from the Warriors.
Dude from the Warriors.
Dennis Quaid is adequate in his role.
Could Randy Quaid do it better?
Oh, of course. Good God, yes.
Okay, just checking.
Randy Quaid could do Lawrence of Arabia better than Peter O'Toole.
Every time I see him in that hat, dumping the shit out of the RV.
Lord, shitter's full.
Okay, but
George Wendt was in this movie.
George Wendt.
Norm.
Okay, someone who shouldn't have been in this movie, Kate Capshaw. Sorry. Eddie Albert as the president. I mean, also a classical actor, but he was feeling weird in his skin, especially in the dream sequences. You could tell.
It got weird.
Yeah.
Final word by BJ?
Dreamscape. I mean, I feel like it's the classic selfish tale to learn a lesson for Dennis Quaid's character.
Wearing low-cut shirts is no way to live your 30s.
No way to live your 30s and use your talents for good, not evil. No.
Yeah.
And, I also think it's a spy movie. But,
I never thought of it that way. That's such an interesting take because I didn't ever think of it.
Because it's kind of like they're out to kill the president. You got the guy that's going into different people's dreams and killing them.
Because I couldn't stop looking at the cover of the DVD long enough to think about that.
A lot going on there.
Yeah. Max von Sydow. He's in some of the greatest movies ever made.
Why do you gotta keep bringing up guys that nobody knows?
David Patrick Kelly.
He was in The Seventh Seal. Fucking Ingmar Bergman.
Stop swearing, dude. This is a family show.
Wait.
It's a family show, Jim.
He's been acting for 70 years.
We can't really be expected to do research and or remember all this stuff. Some of us got high in college. Or maybe last week,
he was in The Greatest Story Ever Told. He was in The Exorcist.
Dude, my information has been worse than both of yours, so it's fine.
Okay, let me just go to the other side of the Max von
family tree
spectrum here.
I will figure it out.
Max von spectrum. The other side, he played Ming the Merciless in Flash Gordon.
No.
Flash Gordon.
No. No.
He was in Strange Brew, Bob and Doug.
Yeah,
Bob and Doug.
I'm not going to wreck this truck.
Yeah. So
it's a big truck, eh?
He has the greatest space between pieces of shit and masterpieces, more than any other actor. And that's all I have to say about that.
Moving along. So now it is time for the new movie that we feel you may have missed. And of course, once again, Ted missed. So BJ and I will be speaking about Heredity. Heredity is a 2018 American horror film written and directed by Ari Aster. It is his feature. He directed this film. It was his first one. It had Toni Collette, Alex Wolff, who every time I kept seeing him on screen, I'm like, I've seen this kid, because he was so good.
Jumanji kid.
He was good, yeah, but I saw Jumanji, but I kept saying, I'm like, I've seen him. He was awesome. Millie Shapiro, who's never been in anything else before this film. This was her first film.
She's done some Broadway stuff.
So, yeah, but nothing on film. That was her first one.
Beautiful.
Gabriel Byrne, who was so basically what I'm trying to say is, oh man, this movie, I'll never watch it again. I love it so much. It follows a family haunted after the death of their secretive grandmother. Heredity premiered on July 21st, played at Sundance, played here, played there. The critics freaking love it. Audiences don't know what to do with it. We got an IMDb score of 6.9, critic score of 89%, audience score goes down to 60%. I, on the other hand, loved this movie. I loved it. I will never watch it again.
Yeah, it took me like 3 tries to get through this movie. When 50 minutes, I had to watch some Star Wars to give myself. It was like it jacked me up on the most profound level. I was like so sick, tight feeling the entire time in my chest. But that's a good sign for a horror film.
Well, absolutely. But it's I don't watch a ton of them. It starts off kind of slow and it's just a lot of talk and you're just like, all right.
But once it starts,
and at that last 45 minutes when it gets, because this is one of those movies where the problem is if what we want to talk about, we can't talk about because it's a new movie and I don't want to give away, but the other films, they're old. If you missed them, that's your fault. But the new movies, we try not to give away too much. And at the end of it, oh my God.
It has you nervous and suspicious the whole time. And that's what they want. I have hash marks for how many times I said, what the fuck? I said it 8 times, and then I stopped counting.
This movie was filmed in Utah, so so that's why I wanted to see it, is because all of the sets were up in the Park City studio. So Toni Collette, here's a fun little story. She told her manager, right before this film, I don't want anything. I just want to.
Toni Collette of Shaft fame.
Shaft?
Sixth Sense?
She was in Shaft.
Yeah.
Was she?
The last Samuel Jackson one?
Alright, I'm in. Okay. When she told her manager, I only want to do comedies. I'm not looking for, stop sending me these deep, dark scripts. So someone sent this to her. She's like, I'm not doing this crap. I'm doing comedies. I want to take a break. So she read this film and she went, yeah, okay, I'll do it.
Seriously, people need to pay attention to her in this movie because she was freaking good in it.
Nice.
Her crying and screaming is some of the most horrifying grief I've ever heard.
Wow.
So the one of the only plot points I will give out. So basically, so the grandma dies, and then it starts to reveal that her family has a big, huge history of mental illness, and there's been problems and stuff, and then it goes from this family just trying to get through the world to all of a sudden there's my family might have been crazy to we get a phone call after the grandma's funeral. Someone's desecrated
someone's stolen grandma.
Someone stole grandma.
Yeah.
I did actually see it. The alien is inside the cat.
No.
Yes.
No, that's a different
movie.
No?
Nope.
No, you didn't see this one.
Okay.
I
promise to watch it. I promise to watch it.
Yeah, you should see it. I give this movie 2 chopped off heads out of stars. Go out and check this one out, especially if you like scary movies.
Oh my goodness!
It screwed with me for.
I'm not gonna sleep tonight.
3 days.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, I won't sleep just because we talked about it.
2 chopped off heads.
2 chopped off heads out of stars.
He probably gave away too much. Really quickly, we're gonna go through the audience. We did last week. We challenged you to give us an audience choice, and we got an audience choice. Again, that you can give us an audience choice by using the www. There, Ted?
For the email, it is givepieceachanz, givepiece, Piece, a chance, CHANZ, chance. At gmail.com.
At Gmail with your pinky up when you're typing. Also, you can go on our Facebook page. A lot of you who have found our thing from Facebook, you can also write on there and we'll pick one. So this week we actually had an odd choice that a lot of us had seen, but it's been long enough. We thought, okay, this might be fun, and we went with Dick Tracy.
Oh yeah.
Those of you who don't know who Dick Tracy is, you're dumb.
You've never opened a newspaper. Oh, maybe you've never seen a newspaper.
Right, yeah, those are the things that they sell. Warren Beatty, he produced, directed, starred, has Al Pacino, Madonna. So basically, it's a guy wears a yellow coat who tries to solve crimes against funny-looking dudes. Danny Elfman did the film score. Gene Hackman actually was asked to do Lips Manless. He was asked to do that part, but he said no because he was directed by Warren Beatty before, and he said, I won't do it again. Yeah. Warren Beatty turned down Misery to star and direct in Misery to do this film.
I think he was also too old to be Dick Tracy.
And also, this is one of the last films to use painted backgrounds before everything went to CGI.
Yeah, the sets on this movie look dead, though. Like, some of when they're driving away down the street and they're supposed to be in a city, the streets are just deserted. A lot, everything looks dead in this movie.
Because it's all painted backgrounds.
Yeah, it's all great colors, and I love,
Like, they moved the board rather than drive the car. They moved the board of the street moving behind. So they didn't paint people on the street.
But great Disney movie.
Did you ever play this game on the NES?
No.
It pissed me off.
Yeah.
Oh, it was terrible.
I think I watched, though. I'm pretty sure I had to watch.
This was a terrible, terrible, terrible game. However,
that kid didn't need to be in this movie either. They could have cut him completely out of the movie.
But that was part of it. It was supposed to be a detective film, but it was also being him bringing the kid. Yeah. Do you know who turned down the kid? Do you know who turned down the kid to do Home Alone?
Macaulay.
Yeah, it was Macaulay's part, and he said no to do Home Alone.
I say that because we're friends, Macaulay.
Macaulay. I actually I would really like to see Macaulay have a comeback.
His podcast is really awesome.
Yeah, I've listened. Yeah,
I like Macaulay a lot, and he's done a few films through the years. And I actually really like what I've seen. Both of his little brothers are still working, and they're doing great. And it's great. But I want Macaulay to come back. I think that he got a bad rap and had a terrible childhood. And I would love to see Macaulay come back. But as far as we're not talking about Dick Tracy, we're going to finish this up real quick. What do you got on Dick Tracy?
The leading actress,
Madonna.
No.
Madonna.
No.
Tess.
Madonna.
Tess. Yeah, we lost her last year.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, she was in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Yeah, that's a good film.
Oh yeah,
that's definitely. Great film. I just watched that recently. That held up.
That's excellent, Ruprecht.
Yeah.
Not Mother.
I think the characters were so grotesque in their makeup and costumes that I couldn't look at the movie, there's spit coming down, just gross. Gross.
Do you know why there wasn't a sequel?
No.
Even though it made a lot of money.
Shoulder pads went out of fashion?
No, because they had a huge copyright issue between Beatty and who owned it and who could make it. And it went back, and it actually got resolved in October of 2013. But wow. and Beatty won, so he resumed rights if he wanted to make a sequel, but apparently nobody cared.
Yeah, well, but people watched this movie. It was one of the top 10 grossing movies of the 1990s.
No, it was huge.
Disney did something like $50 million in advertising, and that's what they say ruined this movie. Kind of, they just oversaturated everybody with advertising for this movie before they even put it out.
Final word, just because I think it's hilarious. I don't hate this movie. It's a big part of my childhood. The game pissed me off. But do you remember the comics how he had the hooked nose? The nose would come down at the end. You know, it's got the big nose that came down.
Yeah.
They actually tried to put that on
on Beatty?
No, yeah,
no.
Yeah,
the big block chin, hooked nose.
Because everyone else, like Al Pacino's got all that stuff. Like, they tried to do that, and it just didn't work. So.
Okay, my final word. I'm gonna do a mashup of Big Boy Caprice and Tony Clifton. And if you don't know Tony Clifton, look it up.
What?
Yeah.
Man on the Moon. What?
Man on the Moon.
What?
Tony Clifton.
What? Here I come to save the day.
Albert. Did I say Albert?
I don't care. I've screwed up enough. I'm going to sound so dumb.
Al Pacino and Tony Clifton are the same people.
Okay.
I give this movie a Material Girl out of stars.
I love your rating system. I love it so much. So.
I give it a very vibrant and visually stunning out of stars and dramatically dead out of stars.
And I give it anyone who beat that game, I want you to call me. And now it is time where we challenge one another with our new films that we want each other to watch this week, including putting in the new film that we want everyone to watch. So I'll start with the new film. I know I said last week we will never review a Star Wars film. However, I believe that the people really miss Solo. And I think that we need to revisit Solo. And
I didn't, Jim.
I know you didn't. And you know I didn't. I don't know if Ted missed it or not. But I want the audience to go back because it's going to be released soon. Solo is going to be reviewed, and for good reason, but I'm not going to give it away. What are you going to do, Beach?
I forgot. Oh, I am going to do Snowpiercer. A little known movie on the Netflix with the guy that did Captain America, something like that. Maybe he's in like a DC movie he was in. He was Johnny Blaze on Fantastic Four.
That's what it was.
Johnny Blaze or whatever.
Blaze!
Flame on!
Yeah, that's what it was.
So it's on Netflix, so I don't have to.
Snowpiercer is on.
I don't have to feel guilty about pirating.
No.
Okay.
Allegedly,
we do not do pirating.
No.
Just like we don't do acid.
Dear
in college.
FBI,
never would ever think of it.
We do not pirate.
All right, Ted, what are you doing?
I'm doing a little movie by this unknown director,
Jim Stevens.
Jim Stevens. Woody Allen's Crimes and Misdemeanors.
Is he in this one?
Did I say misdemeanors?
Misdemeanors, it's fine.
Crimes and Misdemeanors.
It's a Friday night. I screwed up so much. I've ruined this week.
He was really mean to me earlier.
We cut that out.
We cut it out. Crimes and Misdemeanors.
Right.
I've never seen a Woody Allen movie.
Oh, no? Actually,
Get the fuck
so Woody Allen,
out of here?
Woody Allen is either like...
You've never seen Sleeper.
It's either
You've never seen Take the Money and Run.
No.
You've never seen Annie Hall.
No.
He's they're either brilliant or they're terrible. That's what
I've seen Transformers, the animated feature, 1984.
I hope you have some space for Woody Allen in your brain.
So it's my turn. The film I challenge both of you with and our audience is The Killing of a Sacred Deer. The Killing of a Sacred Deer. And of course, this is one of those where you can't go blah, 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 blah. Is that on blah, blah, blah? It's on, I believe it's on Amazon Prime right now. Killing of a Sacred Deer. I love it so much. And also remember to write in your audience suggestions. We'll do one of those as well. But other than that, we have gone through 3 unique films. And I don't think any of the films were hated this week. Like you guys hated my third act last week, but I think
I didn't hate your movie last week.
We got through 3 movies that I thought were pretty good. I think we have, for the first time, because I did 2 space movies.
Time for the big reveal.
What? There's a what?
But wait, there's more.
There's more?
Yes.
Ted has a big reveal, and if it's what I think it is, I'm leaving the room, Ted.
A cover page.
It's a second page.
Whoa.
Interesting.
Nathan Parker, writer, Moon, is Alan Parker's son. Director of Birdy,
Shut up!
Get the fuck out of here!
What the?
They see all these lines.
Did
Did
it all
keep
kick?
just-
Did it all come around?
Alright, I'm gonna pretend like I know what he just talked about. The last thing I'd like to finish before we say goodbye is something that I think that we should start doing each week. I want to
massaging.
I want to personally apologize.
Massaging
I want to
each
personally
other.
apologize to both you. Ted, I'm sorry for getting all my facts wrong about the Coppolas. I will figure it out. I will get that genealogy down, because genealogy, I am doing it, my genealogy. And BG, I'm sorry I'm an asshole, but I'm an asshole.
I just...
So I am going to go step out and say, I'm sorry for being an asshole. Is there anything that you guys would like to say?
I really don't feel like I was an asshole this week. No, I'm good. It's
good. Yeah, he had a perfect show. Good. Ted, anything?
I'm sorry that you guys were so mean to me. No, I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. No, I love you guys.
Okay, good. Local artists, if you're a band or maybe like maybe even like a poet or something that you record stuff, we're looking for stuff that we can use for bumpers, stuff that we can do intros with, stuff that we can do. Well, the outros will always.
If you have skills on a 1980s Casio keyboard,
we want your music, and we'll use your music. But the outro you can't touch, because that will always be
cleaning the cube.
But anyone else, please give us your music. We'll put it on. We'll help you. Help us. We'll help you, and hopefully we can grow this thing. I know we're just three stupid drunk guys. There's two drunk guys and BJ. But to be fair, he's got like three $6 million man parts on him.
I may or may not have taken a low tab earlier.
Man, barely alive.
No, he doesn't do any of that stuff.
We can rebuild him.
And I've had a half a shot in water. I feel good. So please keep checking in. It means a lot to us that we even got 60 people to listen last week. That was really cool. If we could get 60 more this week, that'd be great. We have fun doing this. So if you could tune in, tell your friends.
Leave your comments underneath.
Absolutely.
On the YouTube there too.
And
give us a like.
Well, just like we tell each other.
And share.
We tell each other, you're stupid. I don't like your opinion.
Let us know why we're wrong.
Let us know why we're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And tell us the films that we need to see, because everyone's making these movie shows about the new movies. That's great. But tell me anyone else told you to go watch the shit that Ted tells you to watch. Nobody's telling you to watch that shit. The Ninth Configuration? No. Nobody's ever told you to go watch Ninth Configuration before. We did. And it was good.
Good times.
So anyways, that's our show this week. We are Give Peace a Chance, the movie review show about films that we think you may have missed. This is Jim Stevens.
DJ.
Ted.
And tell your mama say hi.
Hey, Birdy, since I've been up here, I've sent Tess, I've sent her over 100 video messages. Where did those messages go? Did they ever reach her?
Sam, I can only account for what occurs on the base.
What about the messages she sent to me?
Sam, I can only account for what occurs on the base.
Birdy. Birdy. Am I really a clone?
When you first arrived at Sarang, there was a small crash. You woke up in the infirmary. You suffered minor brain damage and memory loss. I kept you under observation and ran some tests.